It's Monday night, and we're sharpening our takes. You're tuned into The Cut, hosted by Thomas Roth.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the newest edition of The Cut. I'm Thomas Roth, and I'm here to give you the real takes that we're all craving. From takes on everything from politics and current events to conspiracy theories, entertainment, and pop culture, our goal is simple: to keep you informed and entertained while building a mutual trust through an honest, no-nonsense conversation. Tonight's show is going to deviate a little bit from our normal spooky season theme of this month. Yesterday, I witnessed the most abhorrent thing I've ever seen in my 30 years of consciously watching and remembering sports, and I feel the need to talk about it. So the theme of the show tonight is glass houses. If you cheered for Deshaun Watson getting hurt yesterday, let's have a chat. So before we get into that, I want to shout out our sponsor here at Cracked. So Cracked, your one-stop shop for for all things electronics repair. I bet you're watching this on a cracked screen now, or your battery is about to die. Don't worry though. Take it to Cracked, where they can get your screen uncracked and give your device some more life. Give Cracked a call at 440-536-4044. Or go to crackedrepair.com. That's CRAKD repair, all one word, .com to get a quote. Cracked. Get your fix. So before we start this, if you guys are tuning in, thank you very much. I want to thank you for that. Go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the channel in this video so you can get those notifications when we're going live. It's pretty much every Monday at 7:30. We definitely appreciate you guys joining us, and we are going to start out now. So, yesterday, Deshaun Watson, quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, suffered a non-contact injury in which he tore his Achilles tendon, effectively rendering him out from the season. As this transpired, Browns fans were heard cheering for the injury as he was carted off the field. Anthony, could you pull the video for me, please?
He knows it too. Should I?
Yeah, if you want to.
I'm just going to make it the lead around his way.
So, you can't hear any of the cheering there. Obviously, the video was edited a tad, and we couldn't necessarily hear it, but I came home yesterday. I go on Reddit. I'm on Facebook, and I read that people were cheering, and I read all sorts of crazy stuff, right? I heard takes from all sorts of walks of life on Facebook, which, as we all know, is the mecca of public opinion. It's not. And I was on Reddit, X. I was on a couple different social media sources, and I kept just reading people cheering and happy he got hurt. And I mean, I get it. Tensions are always going to stem from a variety of issues, regarding Deshaun Watson. I mean, he's got a high salary. He hasn't been very good on the field, and off of it, he's kind of been a piece of shit. And these factors may have, but almost definitely contribute to the negative fan reaction during recent games this season, last season. And when he was injured, people were cheering and they were happy. And when he's not playing his best, people are booing. This is the only time I've ever heard cheers for Deshaun Watson in Cleveland. And guess what, man? He's human. And we have a video that I'm going to get up here in a minute of Myles Garrett from the Browns, who went on to address the fans cheering for an injured Deshaun Watson. And Myles Garrett says it best in his video that, I mean, he's a human being. He did something pretty bad. And if you've lived under a bridge for the past 4 or 5 years. I'll definitely recap it for you here in a little bit, but I want to ask you guys a question, and I want to be as candid as possible. Who here watching this video has never done something wrong in their life? Who's never made a mistake? Who's never done something bad in their life? I'm betting every single one of you have. I'm betting everyone's done something bad or fucked up to someone. Now, I am never going to condone what Deshaun Watson was accused of. I think that that's gross. And I think that his behavior off the field is abhorrent. But at the end of the day, the guy is a human being. And we're going to hear something about what Myles Garrett had to say. So, Anthony, if you could bring that up real quick, I'd appreciate you.
The reaction that the fans get, whether it's an opponent that goes down or one of our own, we don't boo the guys that are injured on the field, especially with the extent where the card comes out. We should be ashamed of ourselves, as Browns and as fans to boo anyone and their downfall, to be season-altering, career-altering injury. Man, it's not perfect. He doesn't need to be. None of us are expected to be perfect. Can't judge him for what he does, off the field or on the field, because I can't throw stones from my glass house. But we need to do better. We need to do better on the football field, and we need to do better as fans for having some empathy for a man who's doing the best he can and did the best he can up to this point. We have to be better.
What is it?
All right. So I think Myles Garrett, who is kind of the poster boy for Cleveland sports now that LeBron James left again like 4 or 5 years ago, Myles Garrett's kind of that guy for Cleveland. And for him to come out and say what he said just now about, we all live in glass houses and I can't throw a stone from my glass house. I have never been a fan of the Deshaun Watson trade because I don't like what he stood for and what he did, or what they say he did to women. I think it's important, and we're going to get into this later in the video, separating the athlete from the person. Myles Garrett said it really well in this video. He did the best he could up to that point. He did the absolute best he could. I have never played professional or collegiate or high school football, so I don't know how tough it is to be a quarterback. I know it's pretty fucking tough on College Football 25 on the Xbox Series X. I know it's damn near impossible unless you're damn near perfect. But he's doing it in real life, and he's trying. And when he went down and fans were cheering and fans were booing when he was carted off the field, I mean, old boy was literally putting a towel over his head and wiping away tears. If you wanted to do that, if you wanted to break a man down so bad that he cried after putting his life and his health and his body physically, mentally, and emotionally on the line every week, did he not do well? Absolutely, he did not do well. He was pretty fucking awful throwing the football and leading the Cleveland Browns to a win. And he was pretty god-awful as a human being before he came here. But who am I to judge someone who's playing a game on a team that I at one time loved? And he's trying his damnedest with no offensive line. His number one wide receiver got shipped out. His running back, who is top 3 in the NFL when healthy, had been hurt since last year, comes back yesterday, and we don't even have the gall to be happy for Nick Chubb coming back. We're more concerned that Deshaun Watson finally got hurt and we can finally get out of this deal, and what that rapist got what he deserved and stuff like that. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. This is someone's livelihood. And you same people, I'm calling you out because I read Facebook every fucking day. And I read some stupid fucking shit that you people post on there every day about politics. It's astounding to me in this county how many people think they know politics and how many people think that they're informed and they're being smart with the shit that they put out there. Let me preface this real quick. I am going to be voting for Donald Trump in the presidential election because I like him as a president. I fucking hate who he is as a person. But I'm mature enough to be able to separate who he is as a person and what he can do for a country. And you same people that are saying, I'm voting for Trump, are the same people that are saying Deshaun Watson's a sexual predator. And let me talk about that real quick. So Donald Trump, the 45th president of the United States and the hopeful next president of the United States, has faced numerous allegations of sexual misconduct, with accusations spanning several decades. Over 24 women have come forward claiming incidents ranging from groping and inappropriate advances to walking in on beauty pageant contestants while they were changing. In one case, I believe that Trump was found liable for sexual abuse in a civil suit. And he has consistently denied all the allegations, often calling them politically motivated or false. And one of the most publicized events involved a 2005 recording where he made lewd comments about women. And we're going to get there. Trump's political career has continued despite these allegations, and he served a full term as president, remained a central figure in the Republican politics and parties, and is currently the leading candidate, for the 2024 presidential election, despite ongoing legal battles unrelated to the sexual misconduct cases. So not only has Donald Trump been accused of sexual misconduct, but he's done other shit. Okay? Trump's case has been highly politicized. All of them are. I mean, like, everything that guy does is politicized. And many view the accusations as part of a larger critique of his character and fitness for office. And despite the allegations, he has maintained significant political support and was elected president in 2016. The public response obviously is divided, with many of his supporters dismissing the accusations, again, as politically motivated. Now, what I'm going to do, I found a recording of Donald Trump saying something, okay? And again, this is a recording. It's not actually him in a room saying it. So, I mean, I know that some of you people are going to come out and say, well, how do we know that he actually said that? How do we know it's not AI? Yada, yada, yada. I understand. Be that as it may, this is a story that has floated around and was actually, like, disgustingly enough, a meme. Grab her by the pussy was a meme for a while there. And we're going to hear what Donald Trump said. And I want you to be the judge. So, Anthony, if you could, if you have that video, if you could play that for me, it's super appreciated, brother. There is a language warning on
I'll
this.
admit it. I did try and fuck her. She was married.
Huge news, Sarah.
No, Nancy. No, this was marriages. And I moved on her very heavily. In fact, I took her out furniture shopping. She wanted to get some furniture. I said, I'll show you where they have some nice furniture. I took her out furniture. I moved on her like a bitch. But I couldn't get there. And she was married. And all of a sudden, I see her. She's now got the big phony tits and everything. She's totally changed her look. I better use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her. You know, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss.
It goes
I
on.
don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the pussy. Grab them by the pussy.
You want.
Grab them by the pussy.
You want.
Grab them by the pussy. I can do anything.
Pull the ham.
Hello, how are you? Hi.
There we go. So here's the next question I have. After watching that video, we kind of see we see a recording of Donald Trump and what he said to someone about moving on women and you can do anything you want and grab them by the pussy. And Deshaun Watson was accused of misconduct as well, which I'm going to get a little bit into, but I want to pose a question and I kind of want to go into a little bit of my response to that. So my question is, why do some Browns fans, dismiss what Donald Trump did and support him, and you just vehemently go after Deshaun Watson? So, I mean, it's no secret. Deshaun Watson, he faced criminal investigations in Texas for these allegations. However, 2 grand juries declined to indict him on criminal charges in 2022. And despite the lack of criminal indictments, the civil cases proceeded. And then Deshaun was sued in civil court by numerous women for sexual misconduct. Numerous women. Just like Donald Trump, over 24 women. And many of the cases were settled out of court. In 2022, he settled the majority of the lawsuits, and then there were some cases that were remaining pending. And Deshaun's allegations had significant impact on his football career. Okay, so let's not get it twisted. What he did, he faced consequences for. Again, he did not get off scot-free. He faced a consequence. The NFL conducted an investigation and suspended Deshaun Watson for 11 games during the 2022 season after determining he violated the league's personal conduct policy. Now, before I go on, I want to make it clear, he went to a court of law, and the NFL had handpicked a woman representative to interview him. So maybe it wasn't the court of law. That's the incorrect thing. But he appeared before an NFL court with a hand appointed by Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL. He appointed a woman in charge of this. Now, woman is important because the allegations stem from women accusing Deshaun Watson of sexual misconduct. Okay? She determined that he did something wrong, but she couldn't figure out what exactly he did wrong that would violate terms of a contract, and she initially recommended a 4-game suspension. But then Roger Goodell didn't agree with that, and he had said, I will respect what she decides. He swooped back in and suspended him 11 games during the 2022 season, again, after determining he violated the league's personal conduct policy. And the Browns' decision to trade for Deshaun and give him a massive contract despite the allegations was called into question because it was sparking outrage among the fans and commentators. Okay? So I was in that boat. I was pissed when we traded for him because I said, what a fucking piece of shit to do that to people and to still be allowed to go out there and be a quarterback, and not only be a quarterback, be the highest fucking paid player in the NFL in history at that time with a fully guaranteed $230 million contract. So that's not like if we cut him today, we just have to pay a little bit. If we cut him today, we got to pay the remainder of all of that. And if you pay attention to the Cleveland Browns, you'll know that every year since we've gotten him, the Browns have restructured his deal, freeing up money for that year and the upcoming year because they backed themselves into a corner with him, right? They backed themselves into a corner with the money that they gave him. And they say, oh, shit, we thought the salary cap was going to go up, and it hasn't. Well, guess what? You restructure the contract, you're on the hook next year. And then you restructure that again, you're on the hook the year after that. His last year in Cleveland, his final year of his contract, it's estimated that they're going to be on the hook for $92 million to pay him in salary that year. That's fucking wild. Wild. Right? But the Browns did it to themselves in that regard, and I respect that. You know, like, you're trying to field a winner, right? At the end of the day, it's not Jimmy Haslam's job to be the moral police. It's not Andrew Berry's job, Haslam being the owner, Andrew Berry being the director of player personnel / general manager. It's not Kevin Stefanski's job to get a guy that's a Boy Scout. What it's his job to do is to find the best talent that they can put on a team and then put the best product out there. Now, they failed because they have not put the best product out there. And that sucks as a former Browns fan. That fucking sucks. Because up to this year, I was a huge fan. And I was so excited to watch this team every week. And then they've just been dog shit. They haven't even been palpable to watch. Amari Cooper, our star receiver, is literally just dropping passes. Deshaun Watson has no time to throw the football. None. So, of course, he's going to make bad throws. Of course, he's going to do this. Of course, he's going to do that. Well, guess what? Yesterday, I think he only threw 3 incompletions in little over 2 quarters of, or almost 2 quarters of play. He did an effective job last week. We aren't scoring the ball, but he's not turning it over. And as a quarterback, you want to move the ball downfield, but the Cardinals' sin is to throw an interception. And he hasn't been doing that really lately. And that's awesome. And you cheer for a man's downfall. But again, I want to ask, who of any of you is perfect? Who has never done something bad or dumb that you knew was bad or dumb? Because I mean, if you're going to say no, I have no problem calling out like 6 people that I can just air and tell what you've done. Like, because it's not like it's a secret. I mean, it's public knowledge. But I mean, like, you guys will sit here and act so perfect and holier than thou, and you laugh because a guy got hurt. Ha ha ha. Finally, time's over in Cleveland. Ha ha ha. Well, I hope he never comes back. How fucking dare you, man? How dare you prey on a man's downfall? That's sad. That's fucking pathetic. You guys are supposed to be... I expect that from like 15-year-old kids because they don't know better. You know what I mean? Like they don't know better. But you're a grown-ass adult. You're a grown-ass adult. And you're over here fucking, oh, he's hurt. And I want to thank Josh Rock for tuning into the show. And Josh says that Sean sucks. I wish he would have gotten in trouble for his acts or got traded. I don't wish bad juju on anyone. Definitely not injured. So I assume that Josh means with the definitely not injured. I definitely don't wish he would have gotten injured. And Josh, I'm in complete agreement with you, man. I'm in complete agreement with you. I wish he would have gotten punished for his actions. I wish that there was some sort of personal accountability that he took and said, hey, I made a mistake. I did some abhorrent shit to people, and I displayed predatory behaviors. And I'm sick. I let the power get to my head of being the star quarterback for the Houston Texans, and I thought everything was mine for the taking. and I own up to it. And to me, that would have been so much more powerful. And maybe if he would have done that, people would be more apt to not cheer when he got hurt. Because at the end of the day, let's not get it twisted. You're not happy he got hurt so he won't be on the field playing quarterback anymore. You're happy he got hurt because of your political and personal agendas that you have. And that's fine. You're allowed to have that, but I'm telling you, you're fucking wrong. And we're not going to just stop at Deshaun Watson. I want to talk to you about a similar situation and how it went a little different. Deshaun Watson is not the only person in the NFL to face scrutiny. And before I tell you who it was, I want to thank you for joining me so far in this video. We certainly appreciate it. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel and the video so we can continue to bring you quality content every week. So we definitely appreciate you. We're going to get in now to this next part of the show, talking about a gentleman who did some really bad shit. And we're going to talk about number 7, my favorite football player of all time, Michael Vick. So, back in 2007, Michael Vick, the quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons, faced federal charges related to an illegal dogfighting operation known as Bad News Kennels. He was accused of sponsoring and participating in dogfights, as well as funding the entire operation. Vick admitted to being involved in the killing of dogs that did not perform well in fights through some pretty fucked up and violent methods. He would electrocute them. He would drown them. He would slit their throats. It was abhorrent and disgusting. And he should have gotten so much worse than he got. Vick was charged with not just that, but also all the things I talked about. But he was also charged with a conspiracy to travel. I believe it was in interstate commerce for the purpose of dogfighting, and also procuring animals for the fights. And he pled guilty and served 21 months in federal prison. And Anthony, I believe I have a video we have a video queued up, and this comes from ESPN right around the time that it happened. I actually remember watching this in college live as it happened. Having a touch of technical difficulty, and there we go. Thanks, Anth.
Today's latest from the Michael Vick dogfighting case. 2 of his alleged cohorts pleaded guilty today. Now that all 3 co-defendants have entered plea bargains, Vick is on his own to cut a deal or face trial on federal charges. As negotiations on that plea deal continue, our Kelly Naki reports on today's developments. And be warned, some of the details are very graphic and very disturbing.
Co-defendants Quantis Phillips and Pernell Peace confirmed many of the allegations in the federal indictment, saying that Michael Vick funded the dogfighting operation, provided money for gambling, was present at least 5 fights, and participated in the execution of dogs. In their statement of facts, it was acknowledged that this past April, Vick, Peace, and Phillips killed approximately 8 dogs who did not perform well in testing sessions by hanging and drowning them. There are additional details about those killings that were not mentioned in that document. Sources told me that Vick, Peace, and Phillips initially hung all of those dogs in the woods behind Vick's house, but that at least 3 dogs survived the initial hanging attempt. In order to finish the task, Vic, Peace, and Phillips submerged the surviving dogs' heads in 5-gallon buckets filled with water until they drown. In Richmond, Virginia, I'm Kelly Nocky.
So that's
a new term, another
pretty
Supreme
fucked
Court
up.
scandal. We're not even a month into the Supreme Court's new term, and yet another bombshell report has.
Sorry about that. Some technical difficulties. So what we heard was pretty messed up. After serving 21 months in prison, though, Michael Vick returned to the NFL in 2009, signing a deal with the Philadelphia Eagles. He was initially a backup, brought in by Donovan McNabb, who was the starting quarterback in Philadelphia, and Andy Reid was the head coach in Philadelphia at the time. Vick becomes the starter of the Eagles in 2010. He led the Eagles to the playoffs, and he earned comeback player of the year that year. And his return wasn't without controversy, but he performed well on the field. He absolutely did. He was great. He showed that he improved as a passer, and he showed that he was more decisive with running. Michael Vick was a running quarterback, and he was known more for his legs than his arm. And he came back, and he became very well known for his arm. And I remember ever since 2002, Michael Vick was my favorite player. I watched that man do things on the football field I don't think I'll ever see again. I really don't. It was like literally magical watching him play football. And when he went to the Eagles, it was even more magical because I know he did something wrong. I know he did. But I also saw what he did after he got out of prison. I saw what he was doing in the community. They played it on ESPN, and YouTube was getting even more popular back then. And, I closely followed it, and I said, I don't need him to be my role model. I just need him to be my favorite player and be the best he can be. Because he doesn't give a shit about me as a person. He cares that he has fans. And I'm honored to be one of his fans. And I watched him play for several more seasons. He went to the Jets and the Steelers. And then he retired in 2017. And you really haven't heard much from him. But all you hear every so often on the anniversary of his sentencing, you go onto Facebook or X or Reddit or Instagram, and you see these people post a picture of a dog and say Michael Vick should be dead. Michael Vick should be this. Michael Vick should be that. But let's not forget that after his release from prison, Michael Vick took significant steps to atone for his involvement in dogfighting. He publicly apologized and acknowledged his actions as inhumane and horrible. Actual quotes that you can look up. And he expressed sincere remorse. I watched these interviews. That remorse was sincere. And let me tell you something. Michael Vick became the highest paid player in the NFL. It's funny because Deshaun Watson became the highest paid player in history before he went through the court of public opinion. Michael Vick became the highest paid player in history 18 years prior, before he went through actual court and the court of public opinion. And he went broke when he was in prison. And his wife had to get a job and keep the family afloat. They lost their home. They lost their cars. I mean, they lost everything. And then he gets out and he busts his ass and he tries to change the opinion of him. And he, through his actions and his play, right? And he goes on to get another $100 million contract from the Philadelphia Eagles. And it's because of his play on the field that he got that contract, not because of what type of person he was. You don't get rewarded in this life in a job from your employer for what type of person you are outside of your job. You get rewarded for what you do at your job. I'm a car salesman, but I'm also a really good dad. I'm a good friend. I help people out. I volunteer. I, help my parents out. If I see someone in need, I do shit for them. If my boss hears about that, he's not going to give a shit. All he cares about is, are you going to sell me a car today? And I respect that, because work and personal life are two different things, and they should be treated as such. And Michael Vick knew he got rewarded in his professional life. He needed to get rewarded in his personal life, not for personal gain, but so that the court of public opinion on him would shift and people would see that he was sorry. So he partners with the Humane Society and campaigned against dogfighting, speaking to youth and inner city people about the dangers of animal cruelty and dogfighting. And he also donated time and resources to animal welfare organizations. His efforts to raise awareness and educate others on the issue of dogfighting definitely played a part in rehabilitating his public image over time. Now, I have a video that I found on the internet. I said that Michael Vick had brief stints with the Jets and Steelers, and the Jets' tenure came, I believe, 2014, 2015, maybe 13. But there are some people from PETA that had very harsh words for the Jets signing Michael Vick. So, Anthony, I think I have that up, or I had the link up for you. If you could find that and get us rocking and rolling on that, I'd appreciate it, brother.
The New York Jets signed Michael Vick Friday, but at least one animal rights group isn't happy about it. After the Jets announced Vick's signing, PETA tweeted, "At least Michael Vick can't drown, electrocute, hang, or shoot a football the way he terrorized man's best friend." But is PETA unnecessarily dredging up an old issue? Vick's younger brother says he thinks the issue is long gone. On Saturday, Marcus Vick tweeted at PETA asking if it was, quote, "still on that BS." PETA never responded to Vick's tweet. Vick served 21 months in prison for his role in a dogfighting ring after pleading guilty back in 2007. After he got out of jail and was reinstated by the league, Vick signed with the Philadelphia Eagles in 2009. And while it was an unpopular move at the time, talk of Vick's past eventually died down. WABC points out Vick now works with the Humane Society to help prevent cruelty to animals in the future. But for some Jets fans, that's not enough. One fan told WCBS, "As an animal advocate, I personally have no use for him," and another called the move a slap in the face. A third told the station, "It's hard to root for the team now that they've hired Vick." A columnist for the New York Daily News says it's not Vick's forgettable baggage that'll be a problem for him, it's his age and constant injuries. Still, the columnist admits Vick is a controversial figure. And after several years of disappointing seasons, the team will take its chances with a potentially risky hire. It came the same day the Jets released quarterback Mark Sanchez. Sports Illustrated called Sanchez's 5 seasons as a quarterback, quote, "a sad saga," and even a, quote, "comical failure." A writer for USA Today says Vick gives the team a new sense of hope after an 8-8 finish last season. There's now talk that he could even be selected as the team's starting quarterback. Vick's deal with the Jets only lasts for 1 year. The team will reportedly pay him $5 million next season. For Newsy, I'm Matt Moreno.
All right. Thank you, Anthony. So we just saw there people coming out and saying, "Hey, I have no use for him. It's a slap in the face." What the fuck was it a slap in the face on? Was it a slap in the face to you? Is that how you guys feel about like Deshaun Watson, like, and what he did? Was it a slap in the face to you? Because it didn't happen to you. It happened to women that were probably scared and they didn't know what to do, and a person in a position of power, especially in the Houston area, was doing that. It was probably fucking scary and traumatizing. And you're virtue signaling and gatekeeping to basically say, oh, well, I don't agree with this, so he's a piece of shit. He doesn't deserve to be the quarterback of our team. But yes, the fuck he does deserve to be the quarterback in the NFL, because he is one of 32 people that in this world that can throw the football better than anybody and lead a team better than anybody, right? Just like Donald Trump, who was out sexually assaulting women allegedly, was convicted on one count against Errol Jean Comer. Is that how you say her name, Anthony? Huh? Carol. And had to pay her money, just like Deshaun Watson did. But we will still say that man deserves to be president, which I don't disagree with, because I think he'd be the best man for the job. Just like I believe Deshaun Watson was the best man for the job in Cleveland. He was given all the tools, and he couldn't put it together in a quick enough manner or an effective manner for this fan base, for that team. And I respect that. But what I don't respect is people out here having a double standard, gatekeeping, and virtue signaling. And we're going to see this with him for a long time, because we see it with Michael Vick having doubters and people hating him to this day. But that vitriol died down a little bit as he performed. So is the issue with Deshaun Watson and you people that he never performed well enough for you? And what does that say about us as people? I think in this world, we have a hard time separating the athlete or the actor or the musician or the politician from the person. We got a clip coming from Jameis Winston here in a little bit. Jameis Winston is a lot of things. He's a goof. He's funnier than hell. He also stole crab legs and allegedly groped a woman in a taxi. Okay? But Jameis Winston came out and talked about what happened to Deshaun Watson yesterday, and he brought up a lot of good points. And I can't wait to get into that. But the other thing, what I was getting to is, all those things happened with Jameis Winston. And an ESPN talking head put it to me in a way I had never heard it before, and it made sense. You can have Jameis Winston has his quote is, Jameis Winston has a really good smile, and he's really funny. But just because he has a really good smile and he's funny doesn't mean he's a good person. And that really stuck with me. Because at that time, I didn't even like Jameis Winston that much. I liked that he was a good quarterback at Florida State and that he kind of looked like he was going to be unstoppable for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And it was at that moment, I think, other than the Michael Vick situation, that I realized that you need to separate the athlete or the musician or the actor or the politician from the person. And it's hard because people choose. You have to make a conscious effort to choose to separate someone's on-field performance from their personal behavior, to appreciate their skill and contributions in sports without being influenced by their off-field actions. And athletes, unfortunately, often become role models because of their talent. And I would argue that their personal flaws or mistakes shouldn't detract from their professional achievements. Let me say that again. They might become a role model, and it's unfortunate. These people are humans. Their personal flaws, their mistakes, their egregious errors are just that. It's theirs as a person, not as an athlete. Whatever they do as a person, as long as it's not on the field of play, shouldn't detract from who they are as a professional athlete. Sports can be viewed as entertainment where someone's someone's ability is celebrated separately from who they are as a person. And I know that can be a complex thing to wrap your head around, because personal actions, people believe that personal actions reflect an athlete's integrity and impacts how they're perceived overall. And that sucks, because just because someone's a good dude doesn't mean they're going to be a good athlete or a politician or a musician or an athlete or a car salesman or burger flipper. And it also doesn't mean that just because they're a good athlete, they're a good person. And I think we need to remember that. And I don't think athletes are necessarily required to be a role model. But the fact of the matter is, many become a role model due to their visibility and their influence. There's a high level of prominence in media and society that often places this prominence places them into like that role, and they might not even be looking for that. Some argue athletes should always strive to be a positive example because of their impact on fans, especially the younger ones. And others believe that athletes should be judged primarily by their sports performance, not their personal lives. I'm the latter, as I think I've made it abundantly clear in this episode. I don't care who you are as a person. Get out on the field and do your fucking job. If I wanted you to be a good dude, you probably wouldn't give a shit. I don't care what other people think of me. All that I care about who thinks of me are my wife and my kid, because they're the only opinions that matter. Like, a lot of you, if you're watching the show, are probably like, fuck you, Tom. Like, you're a piece of shit. I have a problem with you now. I mean, if you don't have my phone number, you don't have enough of a level of knowledge of me to have a problem with me. You don't have Deshaun Watson's phone number. You don't have Donald Trump's phone number, or Michael Vick's, Jameis Winston, fucking the guys who did steroids and bait. You don't have Roger Clemens' phone number. Lawrence Taylor was blowing coke before every game. You don't have his phone number to have a problem with him. So why do you have a fucking problem? Grow up. It's unfortunate that younger kids are indoctrinated to believe that these athletes are role models, because in the end, they're just going to get hurt. My whole life growing up, my dad and I loved watching baseball. Or not watching, but listening to it in his 1995 Ford F-150. It's some of the best memories I have with my dad. I have a lot of memories of my dad and doing shit with him and being around him. But some of the happiest things I've ever done was listening to baseball with my dad and watching college football with him at night on Saturdays after church. And my dad always was like, oh, Albert Bell, Manny Ramirez. And he would get me these plaques with like their baseball card and like a signed baseball. And my cousin Heather, she drew me a Chief Wahoo that I have at my house. I got it when I was like 5. I have it at my house hung up to the, I don't think it's hung up anymore, but it's in my new home. I made sure I brought it because I love Cleveland baseball. And I loved these dudes like Manny, Albert Bell, Omar Vizquel, Roger Clemens, Jose Canseco, Alex Rodriguez. These guys shaped my life growing up. And then I grew up and became 18. And there's a famous thing called the Mitchell Report. And the Mitchell Report outed people who took steroids. It was a federal case. I mean, they were broadcasting this shit on TV. And it was at that was one of those moments I realized these guys are flawed just like I am. And they aren't good people. Just because they have all this money and they smile and all the fans are cheering for them, that doesn't mean that they're good people. And I think that's when I kind of got a little callous to pro athletes and my perception of them. So ultimately, the onus is on you to believe whether or not an athlete should assume the responsibility of being an athlete. But I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to be sorely disappointed if you think that they should be role models and strive to be that, because it's not their fucking responsibility. And an athlete actually famously said that he's not a role model. Anthony, if you could pull that up. Go ahead and play it, brother.
I am not a role model. I'm not paid to be a role model. I am paid to wreak havoc on the basketball court. Parents should be role models. Just because I dunk a basketball doesn't mean I should raise your kids.
That is the best summary I could ever hope to hear. And that was back in 1993. And it was a Nike commercial. You want to know the fucking irony of that? He was advertising his shoes and saying he's not a role model. And guess what? If you were old enough, you were still going out there to buy them. And he's right. He's not paid to be a role model, and neither are these athletes. Deshaun Watson wasn't being paid to be a model citizen. Deshaun Watson was being paid to throw a fucking football, to play a kid's game at a very high level. And he got paid, and you cannot be mad at that man for being paid. You cannot get mad at him for being paid. Everyone wants to get paid. Everyone thinks they're worth more than they are. I'm going to tell you right now, what you do at your job right now, your 9 to 5 that you get an hourly for, you think you're underpaid. I will guarantee you think you're underpaid. But guess what? I know, because I'm a victim of this. You're underpaid because you don't fucking work every minute of 9 to 8 or 9 to 5. If you got a desk job, you're on your phone at some point. You're checking your fantasy football lineup at some point. You're texting your wife or your girlfriend or boyfriend, or you're looking up what's on TV tonight. You absolutely are. You know what those guys are doing? They're out there fucking working and putting their fucking health, mentally and physically, on the line for you to watch every week. And you ungrateful fucking people out there that call yourselves Browns fans have the fucking gall to cheer for a man when he gets hurt and boo him. That man's literally crying when he's being carted away. He's been hurt way worse than that. I will guarantee it. He had to get a fucking shoulder surgery last year. And he didn't cry then. He put that towel over his head and wiped his face because of what you people did to him. And you want to know, here's the craziest thing. Last year, Nick Chubb, running back for the Browns, we're in Pittsburgh. And Nick Chubb runs the football, and gets hit by Minkah Fitzpatrick. I watched that game. I didn't hear one person cheer when Nick Chubb went down. That stadium got fucking silent. And I had gone on YouTube because I was looking up Minkah Fitzpatrick dirty hit because he's the guy that hit Chubb and did the hit draw tackle and all that shit. I came across videos of Browns fans, like YouTube shorts, with Steelers fans like patting them on the back like, hey, it's going to be okay. Or, God, man, that sucks. Sorry your season's over. It's kind of a dick thing to say, but they weren't making fun of Nick Chubb getting hurt. And they definitely could have, because Steelers fans and don't like the Browns, and Browns fans don't like the Steelers. And we don't like each other. It's a war. It's like Ohio State, Michigan, if you're not privy, right? Athletes are athletes. They're people. They don't need to be a role model to anyone, or they don't even necessarily need to be a good person. As I said earlier, as long as they are good at their job, that's what matters. And again, I am not condoning what Deshaun Watson did allegedly in the past. I am not condoning Michael Vick's actions or Donald Trump's. What I am getting at is they are fallible and they are human, just like you and I. And you guys keep talking about how shitty Deshaun Watson is and how much no one in Cleveland likes him. I want you guys to watch a video. We talked earlier about a guy named Jameis Winston. This dude is a fucking trip. But this is the only time I've seen him be serious. Let's take a look at Jameis Winston's reaction.
The way I was raised, I was taught to love no matter the circumstances, especially for people who do right by you. I'm grateful that I had a chance to serve Deshaun, but I am very upset with the reaction to a man that has had the world against him for the past 4 years, and he put his body and life on the line for this city every single day, regardless of your perception, regardless of what you thought should happen with him. He committed every single day that I've been here to be the best that he can be for this team. And I know I come from the deep south, Birmingham, Alabama, Bessemer, Alabama. So I know the standard that hungry fans want. But the way I was raised, I will never pull on a man when he's down. But I will be the person to lift him up. And that, all of us have unique experiences. All of us have circumstances, conditions, and facts that we face every single day. And I pride myself in being a man of increase and being a man that wants the best out of everybody. I tell myself every morning what I want for myself, I want for everyone. And I do not want the treatment that Deshaun Watson has received from these passionate fans. I know you love this game. But when I first got here, I knew these were some amazing fans. But Deshaun was treated badly. And now he has to overcome another obstacle. So I'm going to support him. I'm going to lift him up. And I'm going to be there for him. Because I see the way he fights. I see the way that he works. And I know who he is as a person and as an NFL quarterback. And that's all I have to say to address him. I'm sending up my prayers. I already prayed for his leg. And I will continue.
There's famous Jameis right there. If Deshaun Watson weren't a good teammate, there'd be no one in that locker room that gave a shit, and it'd just be lip service. But you saw Myles Garrett and his passionate speech, and you just saw Jameis Winston, who I legitimately thought was going to cry and probably gave an Oscar-worthy performance right there. get really emotional over that. I heard on the news today someone say that that they had a problem with what Jameis said because every obstacle Deshaun Watson has ever had is of his own volition and his own doing. Well, no shit. Because every obstacle in our lives, your life, my life, Deshaun Watson, Donald Trump, fucking Jeff Bezos, any obstacle we face, we are the direct link to. We cause our obstacles. We cause our own shortcomings. There might be a little bit of outside interference, but sometimes that's just lip service to make yourself feel better. If you can look and say, hey, boss is treating me like shit at work and he won't give me a raise. Maybe look at yourself and maybe you're being shitty at work. Maybe you're not putting in 100% effort. It's your problem. So yeah, Deshaun Watson's problems may have been self-invoked and of his own volition. But I don't see a man out there who doesn't have problems made of his own volition. It's all in how we respond. And he came out every week and tried. Do you go to work every day and try? You might think you do. But I bet you don't give it your best every day. I know I don't. There's some days I throw in a fucking towel by 2 o'clock because I'm gutted. Because no one's come in to buy a car from me. And guess what? That's not my manager's problem. That's not my coworker's problem. That's my fucking problem. I'm being a baby. And if I don't get my shit in order, that customer that I might get is going to suffer because I'm not in the right frame of mind. And they don't deserve that because they came in and trusted me to sell them a car. So I got to get out of my own mind and get out of my own dark place and fucking be better. And I'm pretty sure Deshaun Watson did that every week because you people want to crucify him. No one is perfect. None of you are. I'm not. Anthony's not. Well, he might be. I mean, he's pretty great. My son's probably perfect. I would think so. But no one else in this world is perfect. And I want to finish with a question. And I think it's a good one, and I think that it's a very thought-provoking one, Anthony. So if you're not aware, there's a thing in the NFL called free agency. And free agency happens when someone's contract runs out with a team, and they get to go on the open market and get paid. They get a new contract from someone. Now, there's a lot that goes into that. Who's the coach? Who are my teammates going to be? What's the stadium like? What's the athletic facilities like? What's the colors of the uniform? You know, what number's available? What's the number that you're going to give me to come here monetarily? But I imagine one very important qualifying factor is, what are the fans like? Now, I'm going to tell you something. For a while there, the Browns were really fucking shitty. Like, they were bad, dude. They were coming here for two reasons, free agents. They were coming here because at one time we had a lot of money to pay people. But the other reason they were coming here is because we were a passionate fan base. And we loved our team. And we loved the brown and orange. No matter what, we were out there and we were supporting them and we were happy to watch them on TV, even if they were a bunch of lovable losers. What's changed? Is it because your virtue signaling and your gatekeeping has made you holier than thou and you think that you're better than someone? Yeah, he did some wrong stuff. But you guys should be ashamed of cheering for him and when he was down and booing him when he got carted off the field. So I apologize that we didn't get into spooky season tonight, but I felt that this needed to get addressed. I was very frustrated, and I feel a lot better now that I got my thoughts out there. Maybe you don't agree with me. Maybe I'm completely wrong, and I would love to hear an argument for that. Again, I am not condoning what any of the men in the video that I listed in this video did. I would never condone that stuff. But I am mature enough to separate a football player, a politician, a musician, actor, actress, whomever, from who they are as a person. So, to end this video, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Go ahead, like, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment on the video so we can keep bringing you great content every week, mostly on Mondays at 7:30. Next week, we are going to hopefully have an amazing guest. We will give you more details as it comes out. But look forward to next week because it's going to be a fun time. So thank you very much, everybody. You have all made the cut. I'm Thomas Roth, my producer, Anthony Aquendo, and I hope you all have a great evening. Bye now.